Let's look at movies from an expert's perspective.
We're thinking beyond movies.
Imagine being germ-free. It's rheogenesis technology. It's On Cinema at the Cinema with me, your host, Tim Heidecker. Hi everybody, my name is Tim Heidecker. Welcome to a brand new season of On Cinema at the Cinema, sponsored by Rheogenesis. Welcome to the show. This is a show where we give you movie information and reviews and give you some informed knowledge so that you'll be able to choose the right movie for you this weekend. I'd like to welcome one of my guests today from the Victorville Film Archive, Greg Turkington.
Hey guys, glad to be here with my daily dose
me.
of film expertise.
I said you wanted me to do the whole spiel. Greg is from the VFA and he's a film buff and a film expert, and he's bringing in his expertise on the current movies in the cinema today.
And past movies too.
Okay. I just want to take a few minutes before we get into the reviews to acknowledge this is not only a new season, it is a fresh start. It's a new start. We're turning over a new leaf. I love the imagery of the X. For me, it means a lot of things. It's
X-Men.
Not X-Men. It's first of all, it's 10. It's the Roman numeral 10. A lot of ways the X stands for me. It stands for exonerated, which I was, from the crimes that the state tried to throw at me. And the state of California court system basically identified me as innocent. In other ways, it's sort of Xing out the person I used to be. You know, this is hard for me. I'm not somebody that likes to admit when he's wrong. And I can say to you now that I've made mistakes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm innocent of the crimes, of course, and that's been proven. But I've been very abusive towards certain people in my life. I'm not going to say who. I've used myself with drugs, and I have addiction problems, and I've had all kinds of issues. And you guys have seen it all.
By not reviewing movies on the show, or not seeing the movies.
Thank you.
That you were supposed to have seen before you came in, which is a form of abuse.
That's what I don't get about you. I said that there's a chance to restart fresh, and you come in with your crap.
No, you were just saying that you'd made mistakes, and I was just mentioning one in case you forgot that one, which
I
is
have
that
not
you didn't
forgotten.
watch the
We're
movies.
not going to litigate every mistake I've made. I've made many mistakes, and
Yeah.
so have you, and so have you. All right. The other thing I want to talk about, and I apologize, and that's a new thing too, I apologize. We are so lucky to now have an official sponsor for On Cinema at the Cinema Season 10. We are now working with this incredible company called Rheogenesis. Rheogenesis, as a lot of you guys might know, is the #1 all-natural organic germ deterrent that's on the market right now. It's a system that you can integrate into your life. It's guaranteed to work, and it eliminates, imagine that, just listen to this, it eliminates germs entirely from your system, from your body. I went to my doctor a couple weeks ago, and his jaw dropped because he said, I've never seen this before, you are virtually germ-free. But it's an incredible product, and I'm proud that they're part of the On Cinema family. Check out rheogenesis.com. Before we jump into the movies, I know we've got a lot to cover. Greg, we had an incident at the Oscar special, a tremendous Oscar special, one of the best On Cinema Oscar specials I think we've ever done.
With the Jaws stuff.
Jaws
definitely.
stuff was phenomenal. We did end on a little bit of a sour note because our good friend, there was a minor accident on set that we, sometimes it's part of the movie making process. You know, you risk things, you take risks, and sometimes accidents do happen. And our friend Mark Prutsch was involved in a small accident on set. Luckily, the EMS were there and
Very
were able
luckily.
to. Yeah, and so I guess I haven't spoken with him, but hopefully you have.
Well,
an
he's
update
not
on
speaking
him.
now, but his heart is pounding away, so that's a good sign.
That's
He's
terrific
breathing.
news. Good for that. Good for him.
I don't know when or if he'll speak again, but our fingers are crossed. He's in good care thanks to the state of California and the Medicare system and all that. So he does have a full-time caretaker.
Well, the heart's what we care most about. So Mark,
His heart is beating.
All right, let's get into the movies. This week we've got a big one, Pacific Rim
Yes.
Uprising. So that's a sequel to Pacific Rim 2, Pacific Rim 1, which didn't have a subtitle to it, it was just Pacific Rim.
Well, this doesn't have a subtitle either. It's just called Pacific Rim Uprising. There's no colon between
All right.
Pacific Rim and
So,
Uprising or dash.
Pacific Rim, directed by Stephen S. DeKnight, starring John Bodega, Scott Eastwood. That's not Clint Eastwood, which we're familiar with, and Charlie Day.
Charlie Day and DeKnight is the director. It's night and day.
Jake Pentecost, son of Jack Stacker Pentecost, reunites with Mako Mori to lead a new generation of Jaeger pilots against a new Kaiju threat.
That would all make sense
Excuse
if you've
me.
seen the
This
first
is,
movie.
Yeah, no, I know. I've seen both movies. This is a great Pacific Rim movie. This is
Yes, it is.
essentially following through on the promises they delivered in the first episode of this show.
Movie.
I love this movie a lot. One of those movies I'll probably see again and again. I give Pacific Rim Uprising 5 bags of popcorn.
Yeah, it's strange. When I saw the first Pacific Rim movie, which I loved, as you know, I thought, well, that's a self-contained movie. That's it. There'll never be a sequel because they wrapped up so many of the loose ends at the end of the movie. So I was a little bit wary of this one, wondering how they were going to keep it going. After seeing this Pacific Rim movie, I feel like there could be another 10 afterwards. This is the beginning of a new franchise. Scott Eastwood is a big part of that, as you mentioned, related to Clint Eastwood. And watching this movie, you really see the resemblance. And I'm thinking to myself, if they ever reboot Dirty Harry, I think I know who will get the first
All
call.
right. Pacific Rim Uprising, how many bags?
I'm going to give it 5 bags of popcorn and 1 lucky rabbit's foot in the hopes that they do reboot the Dirty Harry franchise with Scott Eastwood at the
Interesting.
helm.
I made a connection. I don't think you got there with this, but
Oh,
you
I
have
did.
Scott Eastwood, right?
Yeah.
And then you have Charlie Day, and you almost wonder if on set they're going back and forth with, Charlie Day, make my day. That's my dad's line, something Clint Eastwood would say. He'd say, make my day from Dirty Harry.
I'm sure they were doing that.
I don't know. I thought that was kind of neat.
Bit of movie magic.
All right. Well, thanks for that. Next up is Sherlock Gnomes, directed by John Stevenson and starring the great Johnny Depp, James McAvoy, and Emily Blunt. Garden Gnomes,
It's gnomes.
I'm sorry, Garden Gnomes, Gnomeo. Oh, Gnomeo and Juliet. That's like Romeo and Juliet. Recruit renowned detective Sherlock Gnomes to investigate the mysterious disappearance of other garden ornaments. And this is a sequel, I believe, as well, to the original Gnomes movie that came out recently.
It's pronounced gnomes.
Okay, and this is a lot of fun. You had the great voice talents of Johnny Depp. And I love this movie. It was fun for kids of all ages, of course. And I'm proud to have been one of the many people that love this movie. I'm proud to be in their company. So I give it 5 bags of popcorn and 2 glasses of soda.
This is a great movie. It's a frustrating movie because it is so great, but it could have been greater. And the reason I say that is the director. John Stevenson is a no-name director. I think when you've got Johnny Depp on board for something like this, the next call you make is to Tim Burton.
Right.
And those two guys together with this Sherlock Gnomes movie, I think he would have hit it right out of the park. And I got to wonder why Tim Burton turned this one down, because I think he made a big mistake. And I'm very curious to find out why he made that mistake, because he doesn't make a lot of mistakes if you know his reputation for making great movies. So I'm still going to give it, it would have been 5 bags of popcorn plus a little garden gnome, but I'm just going to do the 5 bags of popcorn because I think this was a missed opportunity.
Thanks for that, Greg. One more time before we go, I just want to thank Rio Genesis for being a partner on the show and sponsoring the show and being a part of the On Cinema family. Again, it's a great product. I use it. I've been using it now for several weeks. It's made a huge difference in my life. It's an entire system, to essentially eliminate germs from your body. I've found what works for me is the Germ Assassin, and I do that basically is a really strong, intense cleanse of germs. It really just eliminates all the germs in your body. And it's about a week of, I do 4 pills 5 times a day. And then you just, on a daily basis, you can transition to the Germ Shield, which I use the Germ Shield X in powder form. And that you use, I use it to make a shake, really kind of delicious shake. And you do that a couple times, 3-4 times a day, and you're creating a shield and preventing any germs from disrupting your biochemistry. And that's a limit, and I'm talking about not only are we getting rid of germs, but you think about it as you're getting rid of the possibility of getting a cold or the flu or stomach issues, diarrhea, stomach flus, vomiting, and long-term things. You know, we're talking about preventing diabetes, we're preventing cancer, all kinds of illnesses and diseases that, you know, really are so threatening to us. So it's a really exciting product, and check it out, Rheogenesis.
Is the Rheogenesis stuff going to cut into the Popcorn Classics time?
No, I have to do a couple minutes on this if we're going to make this work.
How are we going to make up the time with a...
Don't worry about the time. We'll get to it. We'll get to Popcorn Classic at some point this season.
Because I have
That's a guarantee.
But we...
excuse me. Thanks again to I'm going to have to do that again now. Thanks again to Rheogenesis, rheogenesis.com, providing 100% germ elimination and germ deterrence.
Popcorn Classic elimination too, apparently.
We'll see you next week. I just want you to understand something, that we are committed to spending 2 or 3 minutes per episode on a Rheogenesis. Excuse me. We have an obligation, and that's all that you're seeing here is dependent on that.
Well, then we should have just done it at the old movie theater and not had to talk about this stuff, because if it's cutting into the Popcorn Classics, people have no reason to watch.
Tim Heidecker. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of On Cinema at the Cinema, brought to you by Rheogenesis. I am your host, Tim Heidecker, and welcome to the show where we review movies and give you some advice about which movies to check out in the theaters. My name is Tim Heidecker. I am the host of On Cinema at the Cinema, brought to you by Rheogenesis. And I'm joined by one of the guest from the VFA here. It's Victorville Film Archive, Mr. Greg Turkington. Thanks for joining me once again.
Glad to be here and can't wait to share some more movie expertise with you.
That's right. And a little update from me before we get into it is we've gotten some people asking what's happening with the Delgado Fund. And I've been I know I mentioned this at this Oscar special. People want to figure out how they can contribute, how they can kind of get involved with the Delgado Fund, because really the point of that was to bring arts education to the community. And what's been happening, and this is, I don't want to get into all the details of this, is we've sort of the opposite of what we wanted to happen is happening, which is now the Delgado family, who I was originally very close with and very connected with in terms of what the plan for the Delgado Fund was going to be, have kind of, I don't know who got to them. I suspect it was probably the rat, Rossetti the rat. I suspect he got to them. But now they've turned the tables on me and now are coming at me with a civil suit. And we have this, they're trying to bring the other families in, and basically they're seizing as much as they can. You know, they're just sort of nibbling away, and that's right now why you have the IP seizures that we're doing, that they're involved with, taking control of the brands like Dakar and even Decker and DKR and a number of other intellectual properties that we're involved in. Even on cinema they want to get their hands on. For now we're keeping them at bay. But it's, you know, last episode, I'm sorry I'm going on about this, but it's very intense right now. And it's probably the hardest thing I've ever had to deal with. Last week, me talking about sort of a new chapter of the show. Well, this is a new chapter for me because now I'm forced to be, the joke is I'm forced to, looks like I'm even doing chapter 11 bankruptcy, because just to protect what I have, to create a shield. You know, we talk a lot about creating a shield from germs, and that's what's great about Rheogenesis. But I'm also looking at a legal shield because I'm under attack. Anyways, I don't want to get into all that, but if people wanted to know where we're at, that's where we're at. We're at a complete opposite of where we want to be. So there is no Delgado Fund. And the Delgados are not a lot of fun. That's the only twist on it that I've noticed, that these are bad people. And they're taking their son's death and using it to try to capitalize and and monetize that and try to come after me, but it's not going to happen.
So what did
It's not going to happen. And by the way, I'm getting a lot of negative feedback on the hats. I don't know what the hats are about, but it looks sloppy.
I'm getting
It's
a lot
not
of
the show.
positive feedback because these are actually part of the VFA now. This is part of a new collection that I'm building of movie promotional hats, which
Then
they would give
should pay
to the
then they should
crew.
pay to be on the. Then they Deep Impact, whatever movie studio is, should pay to be on the show. We're not giving free advertising.
Well, the whole
Rio
movie is
Genesis
about
people are
talking about classic movies.
Rio Genesis people are calling me saying, "Why is there dueling products on the show that we're paying for?"
But we're talking about movies every episode. It's
Believe
not
me, there's going to be a
dueling.
deep impact when it comes to the way I'm handling it with you. There's going to be a deep impact physically.
This is
That's a
this
warning.
is essentially a popcorn classic, and this is another way to present a popcorn classic.
On two levels, it's bad taste from a movie reviewer to be wearing product placement like that.
It's
on
not
a second
product
on a second
placement.
level, you look sloppy, and it's a bad look for you. You
Well,
look
it doesn't look
you look
stupid
like a child.
when the stars of the movie are wearing it, like Morgan Freeman. It doesn't look stupid then, and I guarantee you he's got one of these at home too.
Let's talk about something you're here to talk about: movies. Ready Player One, directed by
Steven
Steven
Spielberg, the master.
starring Ty Sheridan, Olivia Cook, Ben Mendelsohn. When the creators of a virtual reality world called Oasis dies, he relieves and releases a challenge to all Oasis users to find his Easter egg, which will give the finder his fortune. Wade Watts finds the first clue and starts a race for the egg. And this is based on the video game Ready Player One, and this is a Steven Spielberg joint. It's one of his best movies, I think, since E.T. I love this movie. 5 bags of popcorn, 2 cans of Coke, 2 cans of soda.
You know, Spielberg is probably the preeminent director of our time, and it shows his confidence with this movie that he knew that this was going to be such a hit that it was going to kick off a new franchise. And so some would call it overconfidence. I think it's the right move. He called the first one in the series Ready Player One, knowing that there'll be a Ready Player Two, a Ready Player Three, and so on and so forth, all the way up maybe to 10.
Okay.
And so I think that's kind of cool, and it's going to be in the Guinness Book of Movie Records as the first time that the first movie in a beloved series had the one in the title from the get-go.
Pretty
And so I'm going to
interesting.
give it 5 bags of popcorn and throw in an old little E.T. keychain just to remind you of Spielberg's roots.
And one thing I love about this movie is the virtually real technology that they're using. The VR they call it. It's almost as if you can be. It's like you're in the game or in the game, and that's interesting. Interesting
3D.
technology. Acrimony, directed by Tyler Perry, one of our favorite directors, starring Tarji P. Henson, related to Jim Henson, Jasmine Simon, and Daniel Nicolette. Faithful wife, tired of standing by her devious husband, is enraged when it becomes clear she has been betrayed. This is a great movie. Tell me what you thought.
I think Tyler Perry it's strange you wouldn't have seen this coming, but I think he's becoming the Woody Allen of our generation in his own way. This is an interesting movie. It has a cast made up of people that we've seen in some of his other movies, and I think it's one of his best, probably his best, and maybe the first time that he gets nominated for a Directorial Academy Award. That's my prediction. I'm going to give it 5 bags of popcorn and a little piece of wood, sort of as a tip of the hat to Woody Allen.
Well, I love Woody and I love Taylor, and Acrimony is up there for me as well as one of the best movies of the year. I predict an Oscar as well. That's an official Oscar pick, and I give it 5 bags of popcorn, and it's an Oscar pick, so that's an important movie. It's one everyone should check out. Not the longest movie I've seen in a while. It flew by.
You can't blame a movie for going fast. That doesn't really factor into its official running time.
Okay, and we have a surprise from you. You said you've got something to go
This
through.
is interesting. I think astute viewers remember last week we were talking about Sherlock Gnomes, the Johnny Depp movie that I felt should have been a Tim Burton Johnny Depp movie. And I actually sent a letter to Tim Burton's offices. He's currently at work on the new Dumbo reboot, the Disney film. And I got a letter back just yesterday afternoon, very fast, from Mr. Tim Burton, which is cool in a way, but what's not cool, and this is cool, that he included an autographed photo, which I didn't even ask for. That's a keepsake. But what's not cool is that he ignored the content of my letter, where I asked him on behalf of all the viewers of the show to answer the question that we posed last week, which is, why did you not direct Sherlock Gnomes? And this is what he says. Dear Greg, thank you for your kind words and for being such a loyal viewer of my work. To answer your question, I have not seen Sherlock Gnomes, but I'm sure that John Stevenson did a fine job. Best wishes, Tim Burton. Well, he's not answering my question. Because my question wasn't, have you seen Sherlock Gnomes? My question is, why didn't you
said
direct
you're going to read
Sherlock
the letter.
Gnomes? But he says to answer your question, but he ignored the question, which is, why didn't you
sure
direct?
He's a busy man. Thanks, that's interesting.
With your partner, Johnny Depp, why didn't you direct Sherlock Gnomes? He just totally blew it off.
You told me you were going to read a piece of movie memorabilia.
Well, it's memorabilia because it's signed by Tim Burton, but it's...
also, we're going to...
I'm going to frame this, but...
We want to see
want to
give us a VFA update. Let's go to that quickly.
Hey guys, this is Greg Turkington with On Cinema at the Cinema with a VFA update. People have been asking, what is the current situation with the VFA? Well, we've just found a new location and we have been collecting the videos, not only ones that I've been acquiring, but that people have been donating to the archives. And so we've got quite a few here. We're looking for some shelving, and we've got a whole other facility, a closet that is quite big, that was a walk-in closet that is now going to be home to the main section of the archive. We have a program in place where if you donate tapes to the archive's permanent collection, you then get vouchers where you can borrow tapes from the main collection for a week at a time. So do keep the donations coming, and I'm feeling pretty good about the tapes that we have acquired thus far. Back to you, Tim.
All right. Well, thanks for that little sneak peek into the inner workings of the VFA. I'm honestly glad to see it's growing and doing well.
It's actually bigger now than it ever has been in terms of the quantity and quality of the movies.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next week. And thanks again to RioGenesis.com. They've been a real friend of the show and are making the show possible. And visit RioGenesis.com, I guess, to make your order today. And we appreciate that. Thanks, guys.
Popcorn Classic.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Let's shelve that for next week. Or put it on your schedule for next week.
But you had time for the Rio Genesis stuff.
It's not a question of time. We already did 2 big segments from you on this show. Okay?
Yeah, but this isn't on Popcorn Classic isn't my segment. It's just part of the show.
It is your segment. I don't bring in Popcorn Classics. Be smart.
You could.
Lose the hat and we'll start talking about more segments. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of On Cinema at the Cinema, brought to you by Rio Genesis. My name is Tim Heidecker. I am the host of On Cinema at the Cinema, and we're excited to bring you new news about the movies coming to your cinemas this week, give you expert advice on what to see and what not to see. I've got a couple guests today. I want to introduce, as always, from the VFA, Greg Turkington.
Hey guys.
And also with us is a new expert that I'm bringing to the show, a technology expert, and Max, what's your last name again?
Ucomco.
Max Ucomco, coming to us from Best Buy. That's a Best Buy, we all know, is a terrific store that provides all kinds of technology and TVs and all that kind of stuff.
Not VCRs, because they're the ones that actually
they're
discontinued.
and we don't use VCRs anymore.
Yeah, but it's because of places like Best Buy that gave up on the format, even though people were still buying the tapes.
Okay, well, let's respect our guest here. The reason I have Max here, last week we delved into the Ready Player One from Mr. Spielberg, and it turned me on to this world of VR that I really didn't know much about. And I went down to the Best Buy, and Max here is one of the, just a killer salesman. He got me into a new 70-inch Samsung, which is 4K, and a couple other great devices, HDMI cables he got me onto, and a whole bunch of stuff. Universal remote from Logitech, just a ton of great, cool stuff. But the reason I went there is to find out about VR, because I thought this is the future, and I love being a little bit ahead of the curve. So talk to me quickly about VR in a minute. I wanted to make a quick note and say thanks to Riogenesis for making the show possible, riogenesis.com. People have been asking me, by the way, because I kind of mentioned this very quickly about my process with the Germ Shield X, the powder, the shake that I've been making. I wanted to give my official recipe for what I do. If you guys are going to go with the Germ Shield X powder, this is the shake I make. I make it 2-3 times a day. Basically, it's real simple. You take a big scoop of the Riogenesis into your blender, some ice, some almond milk, like a couple cups of almond milk, or whatever, real milk if you want to do real milk. Cup of peanut butter, sometimes I put in a banana, 2 bananas, and some chocolate syrup, and then blend. And I'm telling you, it's better than a McDonald's shake. It's such a delicious, got a little sweetness to it, and it's got nutrition, and you're blocking germs. 100%.
Some germs are good for building up your immune system.
No germs are good.
Well, if you want to have an immune system,
you're talking about, excuse me, you're talking about probiotics, and you're speaking without knowledge.
But you told me you're
and
not
I
even
asked you
washing
to stop
your
wearing
hands.
those goddamn
You told me
hats.
you're not even
Shut
washing
up.
your hands anymore because of this stuff.
Why would you need to wash your hands if you have no germs? I told you not to, speaking of germs, those disgusting used hats, they're not to be on this set ever again. I asked you, that was your first warning. I don't do second warnings. I'm going to do it for you now. If that hat, any of those goddamn promotional hats end up on this set again, you're off the show. Now, VR. Sorry about that, Max. This is very disrespectful, I think, to be wearing these hats. And you don't look good in them either.
Well, the hats are
everyone's
kind of
saying that, by the way.
unofficial popcorn classics. Well, I'm getting a lot of letters to the contrary. Okay. These are unofficial popcorn classics. Since you're too busy talking about this Dr. Sand garbage product that you probably found in his estate sale, I'm trying to include popcorn classics by bringing them as a hat.
I'm not going to let you read that letter. Max, I apologize. Talk to me about VR, because we brought one of these here. This is a VR unit set. What is VR? A lot of people are like, why do they keep saying VR? What is virtually real technology?
So essentially, you can put on the headset, goggles,
right,
whatever you want to call them, and you could see pretty much everything around you. You'll be immersed into the video game, the movie, whatever.
Now, this is black right now. If this was hooked up to a movie or whatever, I'd be seeing basically beyond widescreen, folks. This would be another level of, you'd be seeing 360, correct?
Yes, sir.
And this is would you agree, you said this to me at the store, I thought it was profound. This is the future, you think, of entertainment?
I think so, yes. I think it is the future.
Yeah. So now this is where Spielberg knows it. That's why he made Ready Player One. That's why, that's the trend. That's the definition. That's where we're going. So thank you for this.
No problem.
Thank you for the demo and for the education. Fascinating stuff.
Of course, anytime.
Let's quickly get to your Tim Burton update, and then we can get into the movies. Quickly.
As everybody knows what's going on with Tim Burton and the Sherlock Gnomes controversy, I took the liberty of writing an open letter to Mr. Burton, which I'm going to read this week, and then next week hopefully we'll have his response.
Summarize it if you need to.
Mr. Burton, thank you for your letter. In your letter of 4 days ago, you stated, "To answer your question, I have not seen Sherlock Gnomes." Yet if you reread my letter to you, whether or not you had seen Sherlock Gnomes was not my question. My question was, why did you not direct the film? Mm-hmm. Which, as great as it was, would have been even greater had you been at the helm. Okay. It is common knowledge amongst film experts and the general public that your collaborations with Johnny Depp are among the most beloved and profitable in film history.
Thank you.
Please do not insult my intelligence and that of your many fans by assuming that we do not know this fact. Okay. It is disingenuous for you to pretend that a major studio would produce a new Johnny Depp film without first asking you if you were available to helm the project.
All right, thanks.
Millions of dollars, millions of dollars and potentially tens of thousands of jobs hang in the balance of any major film production. To have gone with James Stevenson, an unknown director, instead of a proven Depp collaborator and confidant is a decision that no studio executive would ever make voluntarily. Thus, we are left to conclude that you declined of your own volition to work on Sherlock Gnomes for reasons that you did not explain and that I feel as fans were entitled to know.
That's it. Thank you.
This is the conclusion.
Wait.
As I stated in my first letter, my program On Cinema at the Cinema is at this time the premier source of movie expertise and criticism on the web and television. We have a very large viewership whose enthusiasm for film is unmatched.
Excuse me, you said the letter was going to take 10 seconds.
These are film buffs who generally These are film buffs who generally will see a new release several
long is this?
times
Is it-
if the
are
movie
you
is to their
filibustering my
liking.
show?
I hope that you will not disappoint them with further evasiveness. I look forward to your future projects with Mr. Depp. Sincerely, Greg Turkington, On Cinema at the Cinema co-host. So this letter is just to get him to answer the question, why did you not direct Sherlock Gnomes?
Yeah,
Which
that's
he
clear.
didn't.
We got that.
But he didn't
That's
answer
enough.
it
Thank you.
when
Thank
I
you.
sent the first letter.
Thank you.
So hopefully this gets an
Thank you.
answer from him,
Thank
and
you
then we
very
can
much.
read
You
that
wanna talk about
answer next
movies?
week on the show. Yeah, I would love
Okay.
to.
All
And
right.
that's what this was. This was talking about movies,
put
not
that- I
about
never wanna hear
3D glasses, which they already had in the 50s. It's not a new technology. And
Okay.
I'll be reading
All
the
right,
reply
thank-
on the show as well.
All right. Well, we'll see. I don't know if anyone's interested in the minutia of that relationship anymore. All right. Let's get into the movies. First up, Chapachquatic,
Chappaquiddick, like they said in the movie about 500 times if you saw the movie.
starring directed by John Curran, starring Kate Mara, Olivia Thirlby, Jason Clarke. This is a story of Ted Kennedy, Lion Ted Kennedy, one of the worst rats in the history of politics. It's his life and career as they become derailed after he's involved in a fatal 1969 car accident that claims the life of a young campaign strategist, Mary Jo Kopnecki. This is the story of Ted Kennedy. It says the life and times of Ted Kennedy and sort of the trouble he got into. And it was good to see finally this guy get taken down a few pegs. He's one of those swamp dwellers in Washington that sometimes gets glossed over and gets sort of lionized. But he was a bad guy. He was a killer. He's killed this woman and should have gotten the death penalty, but he ended up dying of natural causes, of course. I think that's common knowledge. A couple years ago, and no one was sad to see him go, by the way. But interesting what Riogenesis could have done in preventing those kinds of issues. And that's all I'll say about that. Something to think about. Go to riogenesis.com. Greg, I give it 5 bags of popcorn. Great thriller. Reminds me of The Manchurian Candidate, directed by John Curran. 5 bags of popcorn for John from his Chappaquiddick.
I don't think it's quite the political movie that you make it out to be. I think it's kind of more of an old-fashioned horror movie in that you've got a car on a bridge hitting the water and sinking, which is very frightening to most people. That is one of the most common fears, is fear of the deep. And it reminds me of The Deep, which is a movie from 1977 with Jacqueline Bisset and Robert Shaw, who, interestingly enough, was coming off of Jaws, another underwater horror scenario. So I did really like it. I would give it 5 bags of popcorn and an inflatable life preserver to save yourself if you ever find yourself in that situation.
Okay. You Were Never Really Here. Sounds like the Greg Turkington story. Directed by Lynn Ramsey, starring Joaquin Phoenix. A traumatized veteran, unafraid of violence, tracks down missing girls for a living. When a job spins out of control, his nightmares overtake him as a conspiracy is uncovered, leading to what may be his death trip or his awakening. So it's either one of those two. The movie answers that question. I'm not going to give it away. No spoilers on this show. Is it his death trip or his awakening? That's kind of the mystery. It's almost like an old Sherlock Holmes movie where you have the mystery, what is You Were Never Really Here? That's kind of the interesting question that the movie proposes. It's 4 bags for me, 4 bags of popcorn. 5 bags of popcorn for You Were Never Really Here.
I'll tell you one thing.
Directed by Lynn Ramsey.
I felt like I was there. I was in the theater because it's a very memorable film to see. It's one of the scariest movies in recent years, one of the most horrifying and one of the most real. And I only hope that none of us and none of our viewers ever live through anything like what the characters in this great, great movie lived through. I'm going to give it 5 bags of popcorn and maybe a prescription to see a psychiatrist, because you're going to need it after you walk out of this one. It's a scary film.
Heavy stuff. I want to thank you. And, you have a new segment that you want to
Yeah, this is a segment that we're pretty proud of. It's kind of a tribute to somebody who's meant a lot to the On Cinema family, our good friend Mark Proch, who is under the weather at the moment. This is a segment called On Cinema's Marchives, and we're going to be looking at some rare footage from Mark's personal archives. Take a
Okay.
look. I think you'll like it.
I'll do that part. Let's take a look. I think you'll like it.
Hey guys, welcome to another edition of On Cinema Marchives, where we take a look at lost clips from Mark Proch's archives, personal archives.
Okay, go.
Mark Proch, 5'11". I'm auditioning for the Ghost of Christmas Past.
Are you the spirit, the specter whose coming was foretold to me?
I am.
Who and what are you?
I am the Ghost of Christmas Past.
Long past?
No, your past.
I believe I would rather have your countenance extinguished from my presence.
What? Would you so soon put out the light I give?
What is your concern then for me?
Your welfare.
All right, very interesting. That was, we ended up, I recognized that from Decker, which we're not, by the way, I've lost the rights to. The Delgados have clamped down, and now they're saying that they own all the Decker intellectual property.
But they wouldn't own Kington or any of the other
They own
characters.
the whole umbrella, Davidson.
Well, I
the
never
rest.
signed anything with the Delgados, so.
Finally, big news, thanks to Max, who's been here teching out and sort of figuring everything out. Max has agreed to set us up with our own VR rig here. So next week, hopefully by next week, I think we'll be able to enact this, put this into action. You're going to be seeing, for the first time ever, On Cinema at the Cinema in VR. So whatever it takes, you want to get your, I don't know, whatever your rig is, get this, or Max, you recommend this. This is Samsung or Oculus, whatever you want. Get the unit, because next week we're throwing out all the cameras here. We're getting rid of all the equipment
Can
here.
you watch it the regular way too?
You cannot. It'll be in VR. Prepare, because that's the future. We're not waiting around for it. Thanks, guys. See you next week.
People aren't going to be able to get the movie
Yes, they
reviews if
will.
they have to buy this stuff
They're
to
not going
watch
to have
the show.
You can. How much is this? $200?
Yeah, it's pretty cheap.
Yeah. So it's
Not
fine.
everybody has that kind of money to buy something. I wouldn't be able to buy something like that. It's a lot to expect the viewers to go buy something like that just to find out about.
Well, what do you think Henry Ford
you
did
don't
when he
need
introduced the car? You don't just, you know what I mean? You got to push it forward.
You don't need something like that to watch this show. You shouldn't need something like that to watch this show.
You shouldn't, but you will. Let's look at movies from an expert's perspective.
We're thinking beyond movies.
Imagine being germ-free. It's Rheogenesis technology. It's On Cinema at the Cinema with me, your host, Tim Heidecker. Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new episode of On Cinema at the Cinema. I am your host, Tim Heidecker, coming to you for the first time in the history of On Cinema in virtual reality, in VR. We're very excited to provide this brand new platform for us, and it's really exciting. What can I say? Get your VR headsets on. We have ours here, and thanks to Max here for setting it up. Max is now our crew of one. We used to have 15, 20 people working here, and they've all got the pink slip because we are going into the future. It's automated situation, and it's kind of cool because now basically you can see the whole. I'll just give you a quick tour. By the way, we got Greg Turkington with us here. Pretty exciting, Greg.
Hey,
He's
guys.
part of the VR experience. You can get up close and personal with him. And now I can go pretty much wherever I want in the set. And basically you can see the whole set from in a 360-degree format. So I think it's a new way to experience all kinds of different stuff, our show in particular.
What are they going to do when they show the clips from the movies that
Well,
we're reviewing? Is that going to be?
We're going to be
How's
able to
that
watch
gonna-
them here in VR as well. So we'll be able to.
But if the movies didn't come out in VR, how
It'll
would-
be like it'll be almost as if you're in a movie theater. So if you were in a movie theater, you'd look straight, right, Max? If
Yes,
you're
sir.
right at the screen, you'd see a screen in there. You understand?
nothing about this reminds me of a movie theater. That's for sure.
Well, I think it's cool. I think it's gonna. You'll see people are gonna get really excited about this. I want to put this back. Excuse me.
You got a cold or something?
I think it's allergies. It's
Yeah.
a lot of
Maybe you're,
pollen
maybe
kicking
you're
up. No,
allergic
it's
to
pollen.
that Rheogenesis.
Yes, thank you again. This is sponsored by Rheogenesis. We've been talking about it. Very exciting. If you haven't purchased the system yet, let's look at it from a different angle, which is, the Rheogenesis not only keeping me alive from a germ standpoint, but from a financial standpoint. The Delgados have been basically moving in and surrounding me. They've taken DKR from me. They've taken, excuse me. They've taken Dakar. They've taken Decker. They're trying to make moves apparently on some of the On Cinema itself.
So that's the last
And-
we'll see of Dakar and DKR?
Right now that they're in a holding company that the Delgados have established.
But can you guys make music anymore, or is that it?
That's like I've said before. I think right now we've pressed pause on that.
Nice.
But so what I'm trying to say is, Rheogenesis is providing that stability to the show. Okay, and the more you support Rheogenesis, the easier it's going to be to do what we do, which is provide movie expertise.
So Rheogenesis kind of did get rid of bacteria and germs if it's responsible for Dakar being gone, for Axiom. and-
Well, listen, I
and
wouldn't
all
talk
those
about,
guys.
the personal stuff, because I'm really at my wit's end with you. You've disobeyed me in so many different ways. In particular, my request, frankly, my insistence of not wearing these stupid hats, and you're back at it
This
again.
is a beret. It's not a hat.
It
It's
is
very different.
Who cares? It's a hat. And I asked you to not wear
a
hats on the set.
beret.
You look like an idiot. You look like a clown. And everybody's saying that
You
Max-
should talk. You look like Adolf Hitler.
Okay, how dare you? That's like calling, if I was black, that's like calling me the N-word. That's the white N-word. And fuck you.
Well,
Sergeant Stubby, an American hero. Take it off. Take the hat off. Take the beret off. Take it off. Sergeant Stubby, an American hero. Helena Bonham Carter, Logan Letterman, Jared Deppard. The true story of the most decorated dog in American military history, Sergeant Stubby and the enduring bonds. It's a dog movie about World War I. Sergeant Stubby, an American hero, directed by Richard Lanny, gets 5 bags of popcorn from me. It's not my kind of movie, but it checked off all the boxes in terms of length, and for kids, it's a good movie about patriotism and American honor. So it's a cool movie in that regard. No stars in it, and it had no special effects that I cared
Helena
about.
Bonham.
It doesn't look good in VR, I'll tell you that much. All right, your review?
I thought it was great. I don't think Sergeant Stubby is ever going to be on the level of Benji in terms of being an American hero who happens to be a dog, but I do think the movie's very good. I'm going to give it 5 bags of popcorn and maybe a can of Dick Van Patten's Natural Balance dog food. Since you like these natural products, that would be one for a dog, I guess, similar to
Okay. Second is
Rheogenesis.
Overboard, starring directed by Bob Fisher, 2 directors, Bob Fisher and Rob Greenberg, starring Anna Faris, Eva Longoria, and John Hanna. This is a remake of Overboard with Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell, directed by, spoiled wealthy yacht owner is thrown overboard, and becomes the target of revenge from his mistreated employee. And actually, it's kind of cool with the VR. You can get a sense of what I'm reading. Sort of like this is a full immersive experience, so you can sort of appreciate. Anyways, Overboard, 5 bags of popcorn. Max, did you see Overboard?
I did. It was great.
You saw the original?
No.
So there you go.
The original Overboard is actually a classic. I think sometimes you're running a risk when you remake something that's so identified with 2 stars. For instance, you wouldn't remake The African Queen, I think, because Katharine Hepburn and Humphrey Bogart are so identified with that movie, as are Kurt and Goldie with Overboard. So I think they were taking a risk, but I think the risk paid off because this movie's just as good as the original, maybe even a touch better. Very, very funny. I think it will be the comedy of the year. And I hope that Kurt and Goldie get a chance to go see it themselves. I think they'd get a kick out of it. I'm going to give it 5 bags of popcorn and 1 miniature anchor, which is something you would use if you were overboard.
And we thank you. Thanks, Greg. And thank you, Max. And thank you, Rio Genesis. RioGenesis.com, the only way to defeat germs, the only way to
Besides
block
washing your
germs.
hands and just using common sense.
The only way to defeat germs and protect yourselves from
If you wash
germs.
your hands, you got germs, and then they're gone. The soap also works the same way.
Okay. Don't undercut the sponsor of the show. You have a popcorn
Well,
classic.
if
you want
they're
to
the
do your
sponsor,
popcorn classic?
I haven't been
You wanna do
paid
your popcorn
anything. I haven't even
classic?
been reimbursed.
All right, that's the end of the show.
But I had bought my own ticket to see all these movies that we've been reviewing and not gotten reimbursed. So
Well, how do you-
Rio
how much do you-
Genesis is the sponsor. They should at least be reimbursing that, let alone paying an appearance fee.
We're not paying fees. You're a guest. You're an expert. And that
Yeah,
should be
but
good
I
enough.
shouldn't have to buy the ticket and not get reimbursed.
Well, then
If
don't
these
go see
guys,
the movies.
Well, what are they doing exactly if they're sponsors? Because I'm not seeing anything. And you seem sick today. Today's popcorn classic, I'm not even sure where to show this. I guess
Any camera, anywhere. You can walk around the stage if you want.
it's Creature from the Black Lagoon, which with all this talk about virtual reality that this guy, has hoodwinked
Max.
you into, this is kind of the original virtual reality. It's called 3D. And there's nothing new under the sun. Certainly virtual reality's been done and done to death. It all started here in 1954 with A Creature from the Black Lagoon, today's popcorn classic starring Richard Carlson and Julia Adams. This is a horrifying movie about a scientific expedition that goes wrong when they uncover this creature in a black lagoon.
All right,
And
thank you very much.
You've got to see it in 3D.
And if you've enjoyed this, let us know, because I think this could be the future for On Cinema.
And if you haven't enjoyed it,
immersive.
let us know too.
No, that's your right. Thanks for watching. This is you understand. This is what we're doing from now on. You have to. You're not gonna. You have to accept that and move on and stop.
It just doesn't feel right.
You don't
and-
call me Hitler again. You understand how
I didn't call you Hitler.
Yeah, you did. You said I look like Adolf Hitler. That's
Well,
on
that's not
record.
calling you Hitler. That's
Excuse me?
saying this hairstyle and the mustache are very Hitler.
Okay, so Burt Reynolds looks
Hey,
like Hitler.
I'm getting cards and
All right,
emails
you know
from
what?
people that think that too.
I'm not talking to you about that anymore.
Well, I'm not the only one that
It's On Cinema at the Cinema with me, your host, Tim Heidecker. Let's get the show started here. Hey everybody, this is Tim Heidecker, and welcome to another edition of On Cinema at the Cinema VR. And I do apologize. This is like,
for the VR.
no, VR has been a big hit. People are writing me saying how much they love the immersive experience, and thanks to you, Max, for being here. I just got crazy pollen or allergies or something. Is just like knocking
cold.
me out. It's not a cold. Excuse me. This is terrible. I'm sorry. I'm just like. Excuse me.
I'm glad I didn't take any of that stuff.
No, it's not from the stuff. And by the way, we've cut ties with Rio Genesis. I'm not sure where to look. I can look here. Rio Genesis has a great product, and I'm very upset because it's an amazing, life-changing, world-changing product. And what I found out 3 days ago, I was telling Max this, that the Delgados, what the Delgados and their lawyer has been pulling on me is got to be the crime of the century. And they've now come after my deal with Rio Genesis. So every dollar that was coming into this production for from Rio Genesis, from your the hard-earned money that you guys were spending is now coming out of where it was supposed to go into the show
All
and
$10.
onto. Shut the fuck up! And right into the fucking Delgado's bank account or their fund. And I'm so sick of this. And I'm at my fucking wit's end with them. And so don't go to RioGenesis.com. Don't buy their, not crap, it's a great product. I'm still using it.
It's never even in stores in the first place. I
It
never
doesn't
saw
matter.
it anywhere.
Send it back, ask for a refund because basically it's a money laundering. The Delgados are rotten and they're trying to ruin me. And my message to the Delgados is, fine, we're even, okay? You won. You've taken it all. I got nothing now. I don't have the ability to fund this show. And now you're telling me that I can't even review movies? We can't call it On Cinema at the Cinema? I was doing this well before I got involved with your son, and your son made the shitty mistakes that he made that got him 6 feet under. And I'm not going to say anything more because I know I'm a good enough lawyer to know that there's boundaries and we can't cross those. I'm sorry. I'm pissed. Excuse me. All right. What are you wanted to read a letter or some shit? Get quickly with it because we have movies to review, and then I gotta get over to the courthouse.
Well, I've been
Because suddenly now I have to sign affidavits saying where the Rio Genesis money was going, as if there wasn't funding this, or wasn't funding the VR. Max knew from the beginning where the funding stream for this show was coming from. So I might have to bring you down to court. Excuse me.
This is an open letter to Tim Burton. This is a follow-up to an open letter that I read on the show 2 weeks ago that, as you'll find out when you listen to what I'm going to read, that he has not answered that letter.
All right. Is this more Tim Burton shit?
Well,
Quickly.
Mr. Burton, this is to notify you that your lack of response to my previous letter has only confirmed our worst suspicions about your lack of involvement with Sherlock Gnomes. Why won't you answer a simple and obvious question, which is why did you decline to direct Johnny, your frequent collaborator over the past 2 decades in Sherlock Gnomes? This is an open letter. By open letter, I mean I will be reading it on the air on my highly viewed program On Cinema at the Cinema. I hereby invite you to come on next week's episode as my special guest and discuss this matter with our panel of experts. If you do not reply, I can only assume that you wish for your standing and reputation amongst movie buffs and experts to falter. Sherlock Gnomes will not be taking home Oscar Gold this year, and that is in no small part due to your refusal to take the reins and direct the movie the way that it deserved to be directed and to continue your outstanding collaboration with Johnny Depp.
All right. Thank you for that.
Hold on. It is incomprehensible why you would deny the movie-going public this treat. We hereby demand an answer as to why. You will be given ample time to explain your strange and disturbing motives when you appear on the show. Thank you for your consideration. So basically, we're inviting Burton on the show to answer these allegations and defend himself, which I think is completely fair considering the situation.
Thank you. You don't have to. You can read the letter. You don't have to explain the letter. I'm sick of this Tim Burton shit. Let it go. The movies today are Rampage, directed by Brad Payton, starring Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Malin Akerman. Based on the classic 80s, it's a video game movie featuring apes and monsters destroying cities. Am I allowed to, can I do bags? I don't know. I love this movie. It was a great action movie. 5 bags of popcorn.
I loved it too. It's actually interesting. Rampage, this new Rampage, is actually the 6th movie in movie history called Rampage, but none of them were remakes. They're not sequels. There's 6 different filmmakers who decided a Rampage would be a good title for a movie, and they're right, but it gets a little confusing if you own all these movies and you're trying to file them in any sort of system. Among the 6 Rampages, I would rank this as the second best of them. I would give it 5 bags of popcorn and maybe throw in some sort of stack of index cards that they could use to sort out any confusion.
Super Troopers 2, directed by Ken Kreskinensky, Ras S. Kahar. Starring, motherfucker, Jay Chanchka Eskahar, Rob Lowe, there you go, Emmanuel Trickricki. When a border dispute arises between the U.S. and Canada, the Super Troopers are tasked with establishing a highway patrol station in the disputed area. This was a Super Troopers movie based on the original Super Troopers, and good movie. 5 bags of popcorn based on Super Troopers.
I think good movie is kind of underselling it. I think it was a great movie, and I think that seeing the gang back after this many years, this has to set a record for the longest time between an original movie and its sequel. 15 years it's been since the first Super Troopers. I think they missed an opportunity here to call this movie Super Troopers rather than Super Troopers 2, Super Troopers, which I think would have been funny. But, you know, I don't need to tell them their job. There's plenty of good jokes and a lot of fun in this movie, and I would give it 5 bags of popcorn and maybe throw in a little, like a siren that you would find on the top of a highway patrol car.
Okay. All right. Did you have anything else you wanted to show on this episode?
I was going to do a popcorn classic.
Okay. Go ahead. Show the popcorn classic.
This is called The Life of David Gale, and it is directed by Alan Parker, who did Fame, which is one of my favorite movies, and it stars Kate Winslet and the great Kevin Spacey. It's a thriller, kind of a conspiracy movie about a professor who's accused of a murder, and it's up to you as the viewer to figure out whether or not he actually did the murder. So it keeps you on the edge of your seat. Very provocative film, and it's a true popcorn classic. And it was 2 hours and 11 minutes from Intermedia, Universal, and Saturn Films, and it was rated R. So do see The Life of David Gale.
All right. And next week, we'll be back with more on cinema. Thanks for watching. Excuse me. I gotta lay down. I can't be here right now. I need some rest. I need some water. All right, everybody, welcome to, Tim Heidecker's, I can't show this, Tim Heidecker's movie review show, which I didn't get to tell you, we can't use the branding of the show anymore, thanks to the Delgados, and their leechy lawyers are draining me of everything, and I don't.
We can call it our cinema.
No, we can't. That falls under the umbrella of the corporate structure I've set up. They can't use our cinema. You can't use on cinema. And this is basically this VR is going to be going. We have to thank you, by the way. Max has done an awesome job setting this up. It's been so much fun doing this VR, and everyone loves it. And it is the future. But we had to send the units back because the Delgados were trying to grab those, and these are through a different plan. So we're gonna use these cameras today, and immediately Max and I are gonna go back and send them back, get them back, and get our money back there. And they can't touch, so they can't get their hands on these. And anyways, let's hear it from Max, who's really been. Come on over. Why don't you come over and just talk about the experience from your point of view, if you want. And wherever you, I don't know, you can, honestly, you can stand anywhere. It's probably better if you stand over there by Greg.
You can stand over there.
Or just kick yourself in the middle here. But it's been a treat having you around, but
Really appreciate it, though. It's been a great time.
Yeah. So thanks for all your work on this program and making the VR a reality. And that's the deal. So take a seat and clear out the rest of the day with you. And I'm so sick of this. I apologized last week. I wasn't feeling well. I went to the doctor. I got some antibiotics. I don't know what was going on, but
I do.
did not, there's some, we don't have to get into it, but don't bother with the Rheogenesis stuff because it's.
Wash your hands, I
and
think.
wash your
would be,
hands.
Yeah.
No, you're right on that. And
You're going to the bathroom and not washing your hands. and
I'm
then-
not saying that was what was going on, but
No,
it's
it's common sense.
the message to Bruce and Catherine Delgado is, I'm done. Okay, I'm done. I don't know we're gonna finish out this season the best we can, and that'll be it. And I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I have zero left. And I'm not just, my tolerance for this is gone. My energy for this is gone. My financial, I'm absolutely tapped out. There's nothing left. You can't take anything. If you want something, you're gonna have to take my fossil off my wrist.
At least you're not in jail.
I'm not in jail. That's something I'm grateful for. But if you want this, I'm not going to give it to you. So you're going to have to rip it off like Charlton Heston said. You're going to have to rip it out of my cold, dead hands. But I'm done. You win. And let's get into the movies. You have anything to add?
I just think that if we'd started the season the right way, which was just to do it in the movie theater like we used to do,
Don't
that a
get
lot
into
of these
that.
problems could have been averted.
Thank you. Any messages for Tim Burton you want to make or anything? Have you heard from
Well,
him?
I'm still waiting to hear back
Okay.
from him
All right.
because we're
Let's
going to
get
have
through
him.
this quick, 'cause
We're going to
I-
have him on the show, but
not-
I wouldn't want to have him on the show the way the show is this week. That would be that would be kind of an embarrassment.
Okay. Traffic, directed by Dean Taylor. And what's sad is I love doing this, and people get a kick out of finding out what movies to watch.
Well, they rely on it.
They
It's
rely
not just a
on it.
kick.
And what's Greg going to do?
I'm going to do our cinema, which is something I've been working on for years anyway. So it's going to be very similar, except more movie focused, and we'll review 4 movies per episode.
Well, they don't have 4 movies a week. Good luck with that. Directed by
Well,
Traffic.
they do if you do popcorn classics or if you look at older movies.
Did you bring a popcorn classic today?
I've got quite a few of them over there, but you said I couldn't do one, so.
You can do one if you want. I don't care. I'll get one for you. Pick
Well-
one out. Here you go. Training Day. I don't know.
Yeah, this is a good one. This is actually an interesting edition of Training Day in that it has an alternate ending. So you watch the whole thing, you're satisfied or dissatisfied with the ending, and then
I don't know
you
what
continue
what am I
on
gonna
and you
get
get a
back?
second ending.
What am I gonna start shopping resumes around?
I don't think you should
for-
shop your resume around.
Oh, I'm asking I'm out of shots. I took all my shots. I'm out of shots. I got no more bullets left in the chamber. I'm done. So I don't know where you go from here. They've taken everything, and they've taken my creativity, they've taken my art, and
Well, I mean,
it's what for what? What are you
they
going to
killed
do? Is
their
that going to bring his son
essentially.
back? No, it's not bringing him back.
Yeah, but you didn't go to jail, which is what they felt you should have, and which is a lot of.
Well, I'm
going to
have to go to jail if I can't. Listen, can't afford to turn the lights on. I literally don't. I don't know what I'm going to eat tonight. They've frozen the accounts, the credit. I can't do a credit card. I can't get a debit card. It's really pathetic what they're doing, and that they shouldn't be allowed to do it. I don't know what I'm going to do. There you go. You can do the show. I don't give a shit. Have fun.
Traffic, it's directed by Deon Taylor, starring Paula Patton, Missy Pyle, William Fichtner, a couple off a romantic weekend in the mountains, are accosted by a bike gang. Alone in the mountains, Brea and John must defend themselves against a gang who will stop at nothing to protect their secrets. This is kind of, I guess you'd say, a modern twist on the old Easy Rider. But in Easy Rider, the motorcycle gang
I didn't
were
drive it
heroes.
myself. All right, let's
And
go.
in this,
Take your
they're
cameras.
monsters, and
We're going. We're done.
it's kind of a
We're done.
horror movie in a sense, in that the bikers are terrorizing this couple. And I thought it was really scary. I don't know why they misspelled traffic in the title. I guess
this
that's
Unclick.
maybe to separate it from a different movie that was already called Traffic with a C. But I'm going to give it 5 bags of popcorn and maybe a little thing of mace in case you want to spray. If you get attacked by
Do you need to
bikers,
take
you
that,
could
or
use
can we
that to
keep
ward
that?
them off.
Oh no, that's okay.
Take that and finish up, and we'll see you outside. You
Do
want
the
to do the
other-
thing where
well,
you go to the
did you
VFA?
disconnect the cameras?
No, yours is still running. Just if you want to go to the one with the, if you want to go to the, do your VFA report on location, you could do that if you want. I just got to get out of here.
Hey guys, Greg Turkington with On Cinema at the Cinema VFA Update. This is a new segment where we keep the viewers informed about the current status of the VFA. The good news is we have secured regular funding for the VFA so that the rent is paid and we've got money for more acquisitions. I can show you some of the recent acquisitions that I got just in the last couple days. Some replacing movies that used to be in the VFA that were destroyed, and some are movies that we've never had as part of the VFA in the past that are now part of the collection. We've got a situation coming up soon, partnering with 2 local universities to do screenings of VFA popcorn classics on the campus of these universities. We're talking to one about a possible Humphrey Bogart festival and another about a mixed festival, just different movies, gems from the VFA. So that's all happening as well. We continue to need further donations from all of you. If you've got movies that you want to acquire on our behalf, please do so and get them to us as soon as possible so that we can properly catalog them and get them into the system. The system will be available online so that you can go through the archives, not to watch the movies, but just to see the titles, the cast, and the codes. That's all going to be online within the next couple of months. Anyway, VFA is thriving and without Tim Heidecker's involvement, and that's probably a good thing. Back to you, Tim.
So, yeah, we'll be back next week.
The following program has been made possible by the Delgado Fund.
Where's cinema headed? Let's find out. It's On Cinema at the Cinema with me, your host, Tim Heidecker. Hey everybody, welcome to On Cinema at the Cinema. My name is Tim Heidecker, and we are back to review movies and provide expertise and have a lot of fun doing it at the same time. So excited to be back. I'm going to explain what's going on in a moment. First, let me introduce our 2 guests today. We have with us one of my oldest and best friends, Joe Estevez from Movies and TV. Joe Estevez, Colonel President Jason Davidson from Decker.
Yeah, nice to be back.
And also with me is Greg Turkington from the
Hey,
Victorville
guys.
Film Archive and an expert of movies and really
And Master Codebreaker in the
Master
Decker
Codebreaker
series.
as well.
Yeah,
Um,
worked with Joe on the Decker series quite a bit.
And I don't even know where to begin with this. I should just begin at the beginning. First of all, I'm wearing this. Okay, that says a lot, right? Because last week we were kind of, in a lot of ways, standing at the precipice of the end, sort of this black hole that I was about to fall into. And at the end of last week, the taping of last week, and Joe, you know the story, so bear with me. I left here with Max. We drove down to the Best Buy. We returned the VR stuff, got the money back, got about $400 back. Went and had a meal because I was very hungry. Hadn't eaten all day, and you could tell my blood levels, my blood sugar was low. And I drove out onto the 6th Street Bridge, which everybody here knows in LA. It's a bridge that goes over the
It's in a lot of movies.
Yes, it's in a lot of movies. And I pulled over, I got out of the car, and I stepped up, and I really was there at that place where I thought, this is it. I mean, I'm tapped out. I said it last week, I am tapped out. Called Joe, he didn't pick up. Stood there for about 40 minutes. Couldn't believe I was at this place where I was really going to do it. And what was keeping me from doing it? And, you know, I kept moving forward and stepping back. It was very difficult. And then I realized, I said, I got one card to play. Because I knew something. I had some information that the Delgados were working on this case with none other than Mark Dwyer, who I briefly worked with on my defense. Now, Mark and I have issues, and we are not always seeing eye to eye on everything, but I decided to throw all my chips in. I called Mark. I said, Mark, I'm in big trouble. He says, I know. I said, Mark, I'm standing here at the 6th Street Bridge. I'm ready to jump. Now, what good does that do to you and the Delgados? I said, Dwyer, the Delgados are sitting on a gold mine. They have Dakar. They have DKR. They have Decker. They have other properties. They've got On Cinema at the Cinema. They have OCX. And it's not generating a dime for them, especially if I'm down at the bottom of the LA River.
Dakar never generated money for anyone.
Watch it. I said, Mark, I'm giving you an hour to figure this out, or I'm jumping. Either you make a deal with the Delgados that lets me earn for them and do this show the right way so that it can make money and I can do what I do best, which is hosting this show the right way, or I jump. I said, Mark, call me back in an hour. Call me back at 9 o'clock. He says, I'll make some calls. Let me talk to the Delgados. 8:45, nothing. 8:50, no call. 8:56, the phone rings, and it's Mark Dwyer. And he says, you must have an angel looking out for you. And I got chills. I said, what's going on? What's the deal? He says, they're going to give you 30 days to do what you do, and they're going to be watching, right? I said, you saved my life, Mark. I'm going to make the best show possible. We're going to do what we do best. We're going to have guests like Joe Estevez here. Thank you, Joe, for doing the show.
Appreciate it.
We're going to have experts like Greg Turkington here on the show. And we are going to talk about movies, and we're going to give expert advice about what to see, what not to see. Right?
Yeah.
What's going on with that? What are you holding over there?
Yeah, Greg gave me this. You know, it's like the movie titles. You know, the General's
Get rid
Daughter.
of it. Get rid of it. I don't want it on. I don't want it on the set. Get rid of it. Come on. We're not doing hats on the show. Okay? I told you.
Well,
We're not doing hats on the show. We're here to talk about movies. Do you want to talk about movies?
You didn't say Joe couldn't wear hats.
So, folks, this is my last shot. And I'm honored to be able to do the show to you today. And I thank the Delgados, and I thank Mark Dwyer for giving me this shot. Okay? Now, will you guys, who have been with me through everything, step up to the plate and do what you do best?
Review movies.
Thank you very much. And you are here to save the day because you know everything. I don't know anybody that knows more about movies than him.
No one does.
And this is a movie star.
Well, not star.
And this guy's been in how many movies? 300 movies.
About 300. Yeah.
And TV star too.
Let's review movies.
All right, let's review movies.
Let's do 3 per episode and show the Delgados that we really have something here.
Well, there's one movie today, unfortunately. The Avengers, starring Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Chris Hemsworth, Josh Brolin. The Avengers in this.
James Brolin.
That's right. Thank you very much. The Avengers and their allies must be willing to sacrifice. Sound familiar? All in an attempt to defeat the powerful Thanos before his blitz of devastation and ruin and ruin puts an end to the universe. So I love these movies. I love the Marvel movies with the superheroes,
Ant-Man.
Superman, and I love this movie. I think it's one of the best movies of the summer. Will be one of the best movies of the year. And we are so excited to watch The Avengers starring Chris Pratt. And this is a great movie, don't you think, Greg? 5 bags of popcorn from me, and check out The Avengers.
I loved it, but I've always been a little bit, I don't know. I think it was a mistake for Marvel to call it The Avengers when there was already another series called The Avengers with Uma Thurman and this sort of thing. You can't just take somebody else's name. And I think it's confusing to moviegoers. But whatever the reason for walking into the theater, whether it's because they want to see a continuation of the 1998 Avengers with Uma Thurman or because they want to see a superhero movie, they're going to leave happy. This is one of the best action, adventure, superhero movies of all time. It's not Ant-Man, but it's damn close, and I'm going to give it 5 bags of popcorn, along with maybe an Ant-Man DVD that I would collect some residuals on.
Joe, did you have any thoughts on the Ant-Man movie?
Well, the Ant-Man movie.
The Infinity War?
Well, I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
Okay.
Joe, do you like these kind of movies in general, the superhero movies?
Well, I'm a little late to the table on that. I think the audience today now the plot line doesn't count as much as the wrecked cars, but
Interesting.
So you don't like the Fast and the Furious series, I bet.
Well, I tell you, in
That's pretty
spite of
good.
myself, I kind of do.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Good,
Well, there's good
stuff
acting
here.
in that too,
Yeah,
but
Good stuff.
that's a
Great
good
eye
thing
candy.
where it's all there. You've got the cars, you got the acting, you got the writing,
Yeah.
you got some
All
CGI,
right.
not a lot of it, but some.
Yep.
And that's a great series. And the Fate of the Furious with Scott Eastwood we talked about a couple episodes back if you were
Yep.
watching.
All right.
All right. That's all we have time for. Thank you very much for watching. And
We were going to do one of my segments that I had prepared for this episode.
yes, go ahead.
On Cinema on Location. I think you guys are going to like this one.
Hollywood, California. Every street has a story, and these are but just a few on Cinema, on Location.
Hey guys, Greg Turkington with On Cinema at the Cinema. We are at the filming location of the movie Father of the Bride, the popcorn classic starring Steve Martin. This is the very supermarket where the famous hot dog bun scene takes place, where Steve Martin asks the manager, quite irately, why he has to buy a package of 12 hot dog buns when hot dogs are sold in packs of 8. This is where it was filmed. Let's go inside. Well, it looks like the movie made a difference because we see here these hot dog buns are now sold in packages of 8. So if the movie were made today, Steve would have very little to complain about because indeed they do now sell the hot dogs in packages of 8. Back to you, Tim.
Yes. Thank you for that. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yes. We'll be back
good
next
one.
week. And thanks so much for being here, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tim.
Yeah,
Thanks for
really
inviting me.
interesting stuff. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll be back.
I thought that was good. That was good. That was good.
Really good.
Yeah.
I'm
Should have done more movies though.
See more of these movies.
Yeah, you should see some of these
I'm gonna
movies.
get out.
Thanks
Get
very
out a
much.
little bit.
Right.
Yeah, let me know.
Terrific work.
I would
Yeah.
love to go.
It's
with
good
you.
to see you guys back.
You
Get that chemistry going. Delgados.
Lights, camera, action. Welcome to another episode of On Cinema at the Cinema. I'm your host, Tim Heidecker, and I'm joined by film guru, film buff, movie expert, Greg Turkington. Greg?
Hey guys, good to be here on my show On Cinema at the Cinema, where I look at the current movies and give you the expert advice that you need in order to make informed decisions about what you should watch and what you should skip on any given weekend.
And Greg, what do we have to look forward to in the cinemas this week?
Well, there are a couple movies that have come out this week that I think you should know about. One of them is Deadpool 2. Now, if you've seen Deadpool, you know what this one is about. You know that it is a superhero movie with a lot of action and a lot of heart. It stars Ryan Reynolds, Josh Brolin, and Morena Baccarin. Let me just say, if you loved Deadpool and if you kind of left the theater scratching your head saying, what is going to happen next with these characters? Now you can find out, as I did. And I found out once, but I'm going to find out again this weekend because I'm going to return and make it Deadpool 2 too. I love this movie. I will give it 5 bags of popcorn. And I'm going to throw in, I guess, maybe a gift certificate to buy the first Deadpool movie on VHS tape if they ever release it that way.
Anything else?
Show Dogs, directed by Roger Gosnell, Stanley Tucci, Natasha Lyonne, Will Arnett. Max, a macho, solitary Rottweiler police dog, is ordered to go undercover as a primped show dog along with his human partner to avert a disaster from happening. So this is a kid's film. It's actually from the director who made the Scooby-Doo movies, if you've seen those. Show Dogs, it sounds almost like Straw Dogs, but of course it's the exact opposite. This is something for kids. It's something you can take the whole family to. Whether you're 6 years old or 66 years old, you're going to love this thing. It's animated, so you will not actually see Natasha Lyonne, so there goes the eye candy. But it's a lot of fun. I think I would give it 5 bags of popcorn, and I would throw in a little, like a decorative dog bowl, maybe, with some of the characters from the movie around the edge. So as your dogs are eating or lapping up water, they can enjoy these characters in the privacy of their own home.
And how about any popcorn classics? Do
Well,
you have any popcorn classics you can recommend?
I've got 4 of them here, actually, today. The first and possibly the best of the 4 is Next of Kin, starring Patrick Swayze. You might remember his brother Don Swayze from Heidecker, the TV show that we did. And Don Swayze was fantastic. Patrick Swayze, of course, is just as good. This is kind of an unofficial sequel to Dirty Dancing and Roadhouse and all the Patrick Swayze movies. It's a mob movie set in Chicago, made by the Warner Brothers. You can always trust those guys. And it is 109 minutes. I do recommend Next of Kin, directed by John Irvin, who also did Raw Deal.
Okay.
Next of Kin. Yeah. Just put it on the shelf. And we also have 36 Hours to Die with Treat Williams. And this movie is a treat. Treat Williams in a slick and satisfying thriller that you've got to see to believe. This was directed by Yves Simoneau, and it features none other than Carroll O'Connor, great old actor, in one of his final roles as Uncle Jack O'Malley, which is a character you won't soon forget. Again, it's a thriller. There's a very harrowing heart attack scene in this movie, and it involves an embezzlement, and it is Canadian made. And it's 95 minutes. So that's just going to be an hour and 35 minutes. So if you have the time, we recommend 36 Hours to Die. Let's put that over there. And then we've got one of my favorites, The Punisher, starring Tom Jane. Not so many people know who he is, but you all know John Travolta. And if you've seen all the Travolta movies, you may have overlooked this one. This wasn't one of his bigger movies, but it should have been. It's directed by Jonathan Hensley. And it's, again, a movie about war, crime, cruelty, and injustice, the 4 pillars of any exciting movie. It is 122 minutes, so that's 2 hours and 2 minutes, so do set aside the time. And it is a Marvel movie. So if you love Marvel, if you love Ant-Man, you'll want to see this. It's not one of the more successful Marvel movies, but in a way they're all very successful. And anything with John Travolta is automatically successful in terms of its entertainment value. I give it, well, I'm not giving it 5 bags. If it's a popcorn classic, it already got 5 bags of popcorn on a previous episode. And finally, 100 kilos. And that's not the weight of my popcorn classic collection, although I do have quite a few. This stars Glenn Plummer, no relation to Glenn Close, and Dwayne Adway, Carlos Carrasco, Crystal Scales, and Tracy Cheryl Jones, and C.J. Mack, Larry B. Scott, and John Tollesbay.
directed by Rod Scott. This is kind of a story about some drug dealers, and they get into some nasty business, and of course there is some bloodshed, as you would expect in a movie that deals with the drug trade, cocaine, crack, but it's revealed that their contacts in the drug trade are actually CIA, and that's where the twist in the movie is. I'm not going to give away how it ends, but it's definitely something to see. 100 kilos.
Thanks, Greg. And now a segment from the Marchives. Let's take a look.
Hey guys, welcome to On Cinema Marchives, a look at some of the video treasures from Mark's archive.
Hello, I'm Mark Prooks, 5'11". I'm with Future Hot Shots Talent Agency, and I'm auditioning for the role of Mr. Blackgreen. Look, Mr. Tallman, we're going to build this shopping district whether you like it or not. There's a lot of money riding on this deal, and I'm not always going to let a nosy guy like you get in the way. It's progress, plain and simple, and progress always wins. Besides, it shouldn't be too hard for you to move your church down the road. Maybe a brand new, bigger building. I hear attendance is up. Now if you'll excuse me, I have a meeting to attend to.
Well, that's our show. Tune in next week for more expertise from our film guru, Greg Turkington. Bye-bye, folks.
Thanks, Tim. Great job.
Hi, everybody. My name is Tim Heidecker, and this is On Cinema at the Cinema. Thank you for joining us as we talk about the new movies coming to theaters near you, give you the inside scoop on what to see and what to not see. All right. I'm with my guest is Greg Turkington.
Co-host Greg Turkington. Hey, guys.
Co-host Greg Turkington.
Good to see you and good to be back on yet another exciting episode of Movie Expertise Provided the Way You Like It, honestly.
Yes, and let's just get a lot of news coming, a lot of news happening with the show. Last week was a big success. We were back, and
ratings are up.
We proved that this show was sort of essential, I think, to the public, and has the potential to be something really powerful and really strong.
Which it has been, but it's just getting better.
And well, you can take over if you want to explain what's going on. I'll just.
Well, this is strange. I got a call. You know about it, but I got a call out of the blue after the last episode from Mark Dwyer, your old attorney. Mm-hmm. And he wanted to talk to me about kind of an interesting proposal. He put me on speakerphone with Bruce Delgado, and the two of them said that the Delgados want this show to continue. They see it as a possible revenue earning stream for them. They've set up a company called Delgado Media Holdings, DMH, and they needed somebody to kind of supervise and produce the show and make sure that the quality is still
Which
there.
is something that I've been doing, by the way, with the show for
right, but they have some
10 years now,
some issues with you, so
well, okay,
you know, because of what happened.
I mean, okay, it's like.
They feel that you're responsible for their son's death, so
okay.
they you know.
I mean, I can't do any. I can't say anything right here. I'm not allowed to. So go ahead.
Well, I think the offer that they made to me is very generous as far as you're concerned, which is that they are going to let you keep doing the show with me. We're going to do it business as usual. Mm-hmm. They're going to give me a little bit more control in terms of how many movies get reviewed, how many popcorn classics, that sort of thing, and they don't want to hear a lot of negativity about them or their son, who, as I say, they feel that you were responsible for his death. So, so I think this is a good opportunity to kind of reboot this series and make it more movie-centric, which, Delgado's aside, is what I think this show has needed for a long, long time. And I think that the ratings and the audience approval will reflect that in a hurry. And so.
Okay, well, that's enough on that.
Okay, well,
That's the
It's
story.
gonna, it's win-win for everybody.
Sure.
And
Win-win for
you're-
everybody. Okay.
Well, I'm not. Hey, did I say, oh, you're no longer the host? I
No,
didn't say
you've
anything
made
like
me
that.
a generous offer, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
And you'll be doing just what you always do, and you've always been great at it. It's just that we'll have less of some of the extraneous topics. And
Well,
the,
we'll go where the show goes.
you know, the
That's.
phony.
I think, but I think you should be clear about
medical
something.
Vitamin junk.
Well, that sponsorship is not happening anymore.
Well, yeah,
we
you-
should be clear about
you got
something.
very
though.
sick from that
We
stuff.
are going to go where the show goes.
Right. Well, the show's going to go to 3 new movie reviews each week, 2 popcorn classics. One of the big changes that I proposed to Bruce Delgado, and again, he said, you don't need my approval for this stuff. You've been on this show for years. You know how it best works. I said, I think what we should do is have 2 popcorn classics per episode. I do one and Tim does one.
That's what we're doing.
And you know, he said, I don't know anything about that, but if that's what you want, that sounds good to me. So that's what we're going to do.
Very good. So that's the news. Greg's in charge. What are you, the managing director of Delgado Media Holding Company?
That's right.
Congratulations.
But I'm still, we're still co-hosts like we always have been, and that hasn't changed. And I don't think there's any reason for you to feel bad about any of this. It's going to be business as usual, except business is going to be better than usual. So this is going to be fun.
Yep. Well,
no
not
more
exactly the way I want
DCAR
it.
and DKR and all that. That's one thing where I'm going to put my foot down, but that's fine.
All right. You done? Can I do my job now?
Yeah.
Life of the Party, directed by Ben Falcon, starring the great Melissa McCarthy, Julie Bowen, Jill Gilligan Jacobs, and Maya Rudolph. Okay. When her husband suddenly dumps her, dedicated housewife Deanna goes back to college, plunging headlong into campus experience. Deanna embraces freedom, fun, and frat boys on her own terms. This was a Melissa McCarthy comedy vehicle, a very funny one at that, and I think she's, again, proving herself to be sort of the John Belushi of the female gender in the terms of outrageousness.
But does she sing? Because John Belushi, of course, was with the Blues Brothers, and it started out as kind of a fun thing and ended up having some hit records, too, and a great movie, 2 movies.
I give it 5 bags of popcorn for Life of the Party.
Life of the Party, I think, well, yeah, definitely 5 bags of popcorn. I'm also going to say that if the Oscars would get with the modern world and have an award for Best Comedy, this would be a shoo-in. If they would get with the modern world and have an award for Best All-Female Cast, this, again, would be the movie to win. And so it's really incumbent on Oscar to get it together. In terms of awards that I would give it every award in the book, and that includes the coveted 5 bags of popcorn.
Very good. Our next movie is Breaking In, directed by James McTeague, starring Gabrielle Union, Billy Burke, Richard Cabral. A woman fights to protect her family during a home invasion. Basically, a watch-out story, be careful what you wish for story, I suppose.
I don't think anyone's wishing to have their home broken into.
Well, okay. Yeah. Any thoughts on this?
When I first saw the title, I said, oh, good, finally a sequel to Breaking Away, which you might remember from 1979, I think. But it's nothing like that. That was a film about a bicyclist, essentially, a teenage bicyclist. And this is kind of a horror film about a home invasion. And it's really quite unpleasant at times, but that's kind of what going to the movies is all about, is experiencing different types of things, and some of them can't be fun. That's no reason to dock the score, though, because it's a very well-made movie, and I will give it 5 bags of popcorn.
All right. Thanks again for watching, and we'll be back
Let's
next.
do the popcorn classics. So we've got 2 of them for you today, and this is one of the changes that you'll start to notice as the rest of the season progresses. Popcorn Classics, I think, has been, of all the cards and letters that I get, and I get a lot of them, this is the issue that people seem to agree on the most, is we need more Popcorn Classics, not less.
Okay, well, I'll go first. This is Popcorn Classic Mystery Men.
Mystery Men.
And that's basically a spoof of superhero movies with Hank Azaria and Ben Stiller and PG-13, so it had a little bit of risky, a little bit of cursing in it. It was kind of cool.
What's the
And
running time?
105, looks like 105 minutes.
An hour 45, so it's a good length movie.
Yep. And what's yours?
I've got An Eye for an Eye, directed by John Schlesinger, who, of course, you know from Midnight Cowboy, which we've discussed many times on this show. It stars Sally Field, who's got a couple Oscars in her closet, and Kiefer Sutherland, son of Donald Sutherland. So this is a thriller about the search for justice in an unjust world.
Thank you very much.
102 minutes. So that would be an hour and
I'm just worried
42 minutes.
Okay. All right, I'm worried that this isn't, this isn't working.
And very well reviewed movie.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
I think it was John Schlesinger's final movie.
Thanks, and we'll be back next week with more movie reviews.
3.
I don't think 2 popcorn classics makes any sense. It's a drag. People don't care about how long a movie is.
Let's let the Delgados decide.
Fuck. Lights, camera, action. Welcome to On Cinema at the Cinema. I'm your announcer, Tim Heidecker, and with me, as always, is the film guru himself, the expert of all things cinema, Mr. Greg Turkington.
Hey guys, thanks Tim. We got a special episode today. We're going to look at one of the new movies that's actually in the news quite a bit, as well as do some popcorn classics.
Great. What's the first movie in store? What's the first movie in store?
Well, this is a controversial one. The movie is Solo, a Star Wars story. You've no doubt heard about this movie. There's a lot of media coverage. People are anticipating its release. I'm going to do something a little unusual, and I think this is really my right to do. As a film expert, sometimes you have to make decisions that go against the grain. I am going to decline to review this movie, and I'm going to tell you why. I think any longtime viewer knows that George Lucas and co. are guilty of theft in taking my master codebreaker character and folding it into the Star Wars world.
Yep.
And I don't know if that character plays into this movie. I'm going to have to assume that he does. But in any case, I'm boycotting the movie until I receive full credit from Mr. Lucas and an invitation to appear in one of the future Star Wars movies. So I cannot give it any bags of popcorn. However, I thought what we'd do instead, just to make this kind of a special episode, is do many, many, many popcorn classics, which is something people have always wanted, and in the past we've been unable to do it. And we're able to do it today. I've got quite a few here, and I've got quite a few over there too. Depending on time, we'll go through them all.
Okay.
Our first popcorn classic today is Double Exposure. This is a personal favorite of mine. It stars Ian Buchanan, who you may not know, and Ron Perlman, who you definitely do know. A possessive husband is consumed by rage when his beautiful wife's infidelity is exposed. So this is a revenge movie. It was released by Prism Entertainment, and it is 93 minutes. We had one last week that was 93 minutes. That's
An hour and a half.
hour and a half, well, plus 3 minutes.
Anything else?
No, I guess that's all you need to know on this one. Prism Entertainment. Okay. I don't need the card anymore either. Blackheart. This stars Christopher Plummer from The Sound of Music, but this is very much unlike The Sound of Music. This is it's about a sexy seductress who cunningly lures the victims with her beauty. Streetwise Ray, played by Richard Grieco, is the muscle who finishes the scams. Together, they're the perfect partners. So it's about con artists and sort of that whole subculture, which is not a good way to live. It was directed by Brock Simpson and stars Fiona Leoe and several others. Running time is 95 minutes. That's just like the last one, but 2 minutes longer. So that would be a good double feature for you. It's sort of impromptu double feature. If you've got 3 hours and 8 minutes, watch those two movies together. And then we've got, Tim?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, Stephen Dorff and Wesley Snipes in Blade. 91 minutes. Again, it's always close to 90 minutes with these.
All right. I'm sorry.
Chris
I can't, I'm
Christopherson.
sorry, I can't do it. I'm sorry. This is it. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. Okay.
You don't have anything to do.
I
You
can't
don't
be
even
the
have to
host.
watch the movies
Shut
anymore.
Up. I'm not the host. I'm not who I am. This is not who I am. Okay. Okay. I'm a fighter, and I'm laying down like a dog. A couple weeks ago, I was standing on the 6th Street Bridge. If I fucking jumped, I'm in hell. Fuck this. No, we're done. Okay, and here's the message. Here's the message for Delgados. Okay? I'm done. I'm done. You hear me? Your son is in hell, Delgado. That was his choice. It was all their choice. It had nothing to fucking do with it. I'm clean. My conscience is clean. I live free. I'm a free man. I'm germ free. All right? This was my show. And they stole it. And Delgado, you motherfucker, you stole it from me, you piece of shit. And Dwyer, you cunt, I'm going to come for you too, you piece of shit. And I'm coming for you, Rossetti, where the fuck you are. I'm coming for you. I'm running for district attorney. You understand me? I'm running for district attorney of San Bernardino County. Why? Because I'm a fighter and I know what that county needs. I already proved myself that I am the best lawyer there's ever. I won that case fair and square. And I am proven in the court of law, okay? And I'm not gonna sit here and be a host for that piece of shit here with his dumb bullshit movies, okay? I run for Congress, I run for governor, I run for mayor of Victorville and shut down the fucking Victorville Film Archive. Fuck him. Where is he? Where the fuck is he? Let me just... Listen, I have every right to be angry. A lot of people get angry, and that's passion. And passion is what this county needs. We need a passionate district attorney who cares about your laws. And you saw me in court. I won the case. What else do you want to know? I want to be your DA, and I hope I have your vote. Because I'll fight harder than anybody out there combined. Fuck this piece of shit. I'm Tim Heidecker, and I approve this message.
My name is Joe Estevez. You probably know me from the hit TV series Decker, where I play President Jason Davison. But today, I have a message for the good people of San Bernardino County. This November, you have a choice to choose a new district attorney, a chance to make a difference, a chance to change the direction of your community and stop the endless cycle of political cronyism and flat-out corruption. Tim Heidecker, a man of honor and dignity with a proven record in the courtroom. He'll bring a fresh voice to the DA's office. Now, he's an outsider, but he knows how to make change happen. He has touched so many lives, and he just wants to bring real law and order, along with justice, to the good people of Victorville and Apple Valley and the surrounding San Bernardino County. This is the chance to give Vincent Rossetti his pink slip and send a message to the state of California that Tim Heidecker is the only choice for DA. Join our movement today and elect Tim Heidecker for district attorney.